Greetings and welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. I'm your host, Ineedadollar.
Your co-host, Levat.
Yeah guys, so today we're going to be exploring the 3 economic systems. We're going to be getting to the economic world, Yeah guys, so we're going to be exploring the capitalism economic system like this. We're going to be focusing on that one, We'll tell you more about the advantages and the disadvantages it brings. And how it affects people in that country. We're gonna be talking about the role of leadership that they are using, and
So we have comprised a couple of questions for our host, for our guest. We have guests who know a bit more on this topic of economic systems, and we'll be diving deep in economic systems and arguing whether which one is the best and which one is the best for the country, for the people, globally as an economic system. Looking at its challenges, its impacts in everyday life. So I'd like our guests to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone at home, my name is Lindu Mteki and thank you for having me.
Hi to all the viewers, my name is Tapulin Fuku and I'm an expert in economics. Thank you for having me.
Hi everyone, my name is Rosan Susana and I'm an economic analyst and thank you for having me today.
Okay guys, thank you for joining us today. Yeah guys, so for the fact that there are 2 girls at the moment, girls are winning this side. Okay. Then guys, we're gonna be moving to the next level. Yeah. Guys, can you please explain or give a brief definition of the economic systems for someone who doesn't know anything about the economy or whatsoever, so that's the economy. Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to touch on communism, right?
Okay.
Let's start with communism. So communism is an economic and both political system that when properties, businesses, and all of that are owned by the community as well as the government. There is no private ownership, and also it promotes equality. It reduces poverty, it balances people in the country.
Okay.
So the second one is the free market system, also known as capitalism. So here, decisions about prices, production and distribution are made based on supply and demand. So here it's basically about the market, what people have to say about the products and stuff. And then the government has limited interventions in those type of things. Yeah.
And socialism is an economic system that the government has full control over, and they have full control over the resources of the business, and it is not profit motivated or driven, but it focuses more on people. Yeah.
So I've comprised a couple of questions to help us understand more on the economic systems, particularly capitalism. In your opinion, how does your chosen economic systems, like capitalism, deal with global challenges such as inflation, unemployment, technological change, climate change? How does it deal with that?
Okay, basically in capitalism deals with inflation through competition, market competition. Since we have central banks whereby they deal with interest rates, if businesses charge higher prices for goods and services, the central banks are gonna increase the interest rate because competition is there. And if one business charges more prices, customers are going to run away and go to other businesses where prices are low. Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
So under climate change, so we all know that capitalism deals with competition and stuff. So when there is competition, let me make an example about Tesla. Tesla invents cars that run on electricity. So that saves what? Fossil fuels, petrol and diesel. And we all know that to make petrol and diesel, we are polluting what? The climate.
Okay.
So, in terms of inequality, right? So, capitalism allows individuals to improve their economic position, through what? Through hard work, education, right? And entrepreneurship. So, as we all know, differences in income levels, right? They motivate individuals to start businesses, to become innovative, to be entrepreneurs, and that leads to a better standard of living in terms of inequality. And again, in terms of unemployment, right? From inequality to unemployment, so businesses expand, right? In terms of unemployment, businesses expand as maybe an entrepreneur, for example, creates his or her own business. When that business expands, it creates job opportunities. So that should cover unemployment over time.
Okay. What would you say to someone who would argue the opposite? For example, myself, I would say communism is best in this case. Because in communism there's no inequality, so they don't need to address inequality. In communism, there's no unemployment. If there is unemployment, government intervenes and helps its citizens. Challenges like inflation are rare. Cases of inflation are rare because prices are controlled. It's a centrally planned system. So, what would you tell someone like me to change their mind and maybe side with capitalism a bit more? Because at this current moment, I think communism is the best, personally.
Okay, as you said that in communism there's equality, right? There's employment. Where there's unemployment, the government intervenes. But as we all know, each and every country there's unemployment. Each and every country, inequality is everywhere. Right? So in terms of capitalism, it reduces unemployment over time. Okay, the most common leadership used in capitalism, I would say, is transactional leadership. Right? So capitalism also runs on this idea, right, of transactional leadership. As we all know, transactional leadership is the leadership where leaders reward employees in terms to encourage productivity and motivates them to perform well. And also hard work included, right? So people are paid based on productivity and results, right? For example, I could use a company. A company falls under a capitalism of allowing people to be freely own their own things, right? If a person has a company right now, and then that person would have transactional leadership, right? Because that person would reward his employees based on their hard work and their performance.
So as what Ronsang had said, that the other common leadership style is entrepreneurship, because it encourages people to create jobs for other people who are unemployed. It creates jobs for people, and that it focuses on innovation. It focuses on solving problems creatively and adapting quickly to change.
So, looking at socialism and capitalism and other So socialism and communism, they do promote equality, which is right. We're not against that, right? But they lack efficiency, and a country needs efficiency in order to grow economically. Yes. Capitalism is efficient in terms of economic, and it contributes big to the economic of the country, as it like through taxes. I get it, we have businesses, so businesses contribute to taxes, and then tax is the main thing that runs the country. So that thing leads to wealth, right? And then it also improves and develops the country infrastructure, the roads, and in developing the country, there are more people coming here to invest, right? Which adds to the multiplier effect, right? And the economy of the country performs well.
So, Wami, which one would you say is best for you? Because I haven't heard of you.
Guys, I think socialism is the best, guys, because socialism is not profit driven. Like, it focuses more on people's needs. Like in socialism, we are putting people first, right? And there's less inequality and unemployment, as government develop some strategies to reduce inequality by making the wealth distribute among the citizens, yeah? By introducing social grants and whatsoever to support those who are not working. So I think socialism is the best, guys, because it accommodates all of us, the wealthier and the poor. Yeah. Guys, now can you please explain the impact of capitalism and its leadership trait in terms of the tourism and hospitality industry, as we know that it's such a sensitive industry.
Okay, in terms of tourism and hospitality, capitalism encourages investment, right? As private companies invest billions in the tourism, and hospitality sector, such as hotels, restaurants, attractions, and so forth. You can name it all, right? And that benefits the tourism industry because there's better infrastructure, tourism development, leading to more tourists coming into the country. And more tourists coming into the country, it goes back to the multiplier effect, right? The GDP of the country, right?
Yes.
And what else am I forgetting? You can add.
Okay, what I like to add is that it creates competition. Because now there will be too many private businesses. When there is too much private businesses, there will be a better service, customer service, because now these businesses are competing to grab the attention of what customers. There will be better customer service, and then there will be improved accommodation, such as a hotel. Now this hotel will try by all means to be better than the other hotel, because there is too much people coming into the country.
Is capitalism, would you say capitalism is still best historically?
Yes.
Yeah.
Compared to other economic systems?
Yes,
Wealthy people.
Okay.
because of capitalism.
Wow. Yeah, that's very insightful, guys. Like, you see, now I want to visit that country, but yeah, it's fine, many less.
Wow.
Okay. Let's go into another question. This is a very interesting question. Since now there's no country that uses a single economic system, they all use mixed economic systems. In history, back then they used to use one system, right? So, is capitalism, would you say capitalism is still best historically?
Yes.
Yeah.
compared to other economic systems?
So historically, right, socialism and communism is known for. Can I use Russia as an example? During history, during their wars, like there were mass genocide, right?
Yeah,
Mass killing of people, right?
Yeah.
Because of they wanted their properties, they wanted to take over their things, right? In order to lead those people, to control them. There's a lack of.
So what would you say about the income inequality that comes with capitalism? For example, there may be rich people, there may be entrepreneurs, there may be millionaires, there may be billionaires, there may be innovation, there may be success in a country, there may be economic wealth, there may be a lot of tax, there may be a strong military, safety, security, low corruption. However, there's still that small percentage of poor people, homeless people, and people who are in need. How does capitalism address that? Those disadvantages, because they are commonly seen in capitalist nations.
And
So-
also there is exploitation of workers. Yeah, they
Workers work long hours with no pay.
like there's no fairness. And the capitalist countries, they prioritize profit over people. You know, since you are this innovative and what, you know, the things like they become expensive.
Yeah.
Like let's talk about basic things like education, healthcare. It's become expensive. Like what happens to people who can't afford that? You know.
So, as we know that capitalism is, it's profit driven. So what the government does is that it comes up with strategies such as excessive taxations.
Okay.
So as we know that private businesses, they make too much money. So the government takes them too much and takes this tax to social services, because the government here does not intervene 100%.
Okay.
Small by this tax, using this tax.
So in addition to what he's saying, the government has limited involvement, right? The government has limited involvement in capitalism, right? So you spoke about work exploitation, right? So how do we address that? That's where the government intervenes, right? Through creating rules and regulations, such as we have
Code of conduct.
Labor Relations Act, BCEA, right? That those things addresses they address workers' exploitations. So in businesses, they follow the government's rules and regulations, right? Which like workers must not work more than 45 hours per week, right? There's no child labor and so forth and so on. And the workers must also get 60-minute breaks during the day, right? So businesses adapt those from the government and then use them in their businesses in order to
Okay. And in terms of the healthcare services, there are public hospitals. Let's not forget about that. There are public schools. Children still go to school. People can go to healthcare services for free. Yes.
Thank you so much, guys, for your insightful opinions. It has been a very informative episode for me and for you guys. I'd like to say we are very, very lucky to have you guys here.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to be here. It's our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having us, especially talking about serious things such as the economic systems, as most of people don't know about them. I hope this information will help them and like grow their knowledge to have a clear understanding on what's happening in the world.
And also the advantages that capitalism brought into them.
Yes.
And I hope there's someone there sitting on the couch and thinking, but no, they must be here now, they must become economic specialists
Yes.
in these things, because so that they can continue to educate more people. And that brings us to the end of today's episode, guys. We hope you've gained a very, very perfect understanding of the economic systems. Thank you for joining us today.